Welcome back. A process developed by Callaghan innovation scientists for a Carterton-based company is being used to extract an antimicrobial product called Totarol from Totarologs. The extract has potential to be used for mastitis and metritis infections in cattle and offers the possibility of an alternative to antibiotics for both animal and human use.
We first got approached by Mende Biotech about 12 years ago. Doug Mende asked us to look at a process to extract a antimicrobial product from waste Totarol wood. So we set about doing that with our specialist equipment and facilities, particularly using supercritical fluid extraction technology. We've established this technology over 20 years ago, and we've worked on over 300 products, from omega-3 fish oils through to ingredients from dairy products. The thing about supercritical CO2 is it's very effective at pulling out high-value ingredients from raw materials that can then be used in cosmetic, food and health products. So it's a very effective technology. The advantages of supercritical extraction technology over other solvent processes is it's quite a green processing technology. It doesn't leave a solvent residue. You get a good yield of product, and the CO2 can be recycled. Helping the business scale up has involved optimising the process so that it can be transferred to a commercial supercritical CO2 manufacturer, because that's a pilot plant and we need to process larger quantities of Totarol wood. And then we've also helped along the way with the product testing, patenting, and really demonstrated tech transfer to Mende Biotech. And they've been able to sell it successfully to L'Oreal, and they've got other product concepts that they're working on.
It all started in the 90s. I actually did a paper on the economic development through indigenous forests for medicines and oils because of the unique ecology of New Zealand. 80% of our plants are found nowhere else in the world. Totarol is unique because it's a solid. When we extract it with supercritical extraction, it comes out like toffee. It is very stable. You know, you can put a flamethrower through it and it'll still be active. It's not an antibiotic, it's more of an antiseptic. So it works differently. It's not a sort of a toxic thing. It sort of strangles the buggy-wuggies rather than a toxic kill. We started off just doing the cosmetic market. My business partner, Reinhard Huber, he does all the international marketing. He made contact and development with L'Oreal in Paris, and we went on the mission of getting Totarol accepted as a compound within their products. Now that took 5 years and hundreds of thousands of dollars. Because of the huge amount of money it takes to develop these things, we've gone into partnerships. We're just about to sign an agreement for mastitis and metritis treatment with the big multinationals. What we're after is heartwood. If these logs and things have been sitting around for 100 years or so, in which they have been, it's all heartwood. And that's what we're after. We get about 35 kilos per tonne of wood. I reckon with a bit more work and a bit more technology put into it, we can get up to about 40 kilos a tonne. That's quite a lot. It is extremely important that when you get the Totarol chip that it comes out into a constant size. If you don't come down in a constant size when it goes in for the extraction in the unit, the CO2 will take the form of the least resistance. So if it's chunky, it'll leave that, go for the smaller stuff, and then your yield drops, and that's a huge expense. Then it goes down to Pharmalink in Nelson. It comes out like toffee. It's a dark brown liquid, and you've got less than a minute to sort of flatten it out into trays, and then the trays are then gone into a freeze-dry unit. After that it's ground up, and that's just to make it easy for you to use and to apply. It's quite sticky too, you know? Once it sort of gets into your skin, it's going to stay there forever. And then it comes back and we pack it up into kilo foil bags. The farm application is when we started coming up with this stuff, which is, that was originally developed for a teat spray for mastitis. We did the testing, most of all our testing was done for against your straps and your streps, which is the biggest things that you've got mastitis treatments, and it was bowling them. The beauty with this for a farmer is because Totarol doesn't degenerate and it can stay there, even on small amounts, is still working against the bacteria. So I think the infections are coming from out in the paddock. You know, if you spray a teat spray and it's effective for 2 minutes, well, the teat canal's open for an hour. As soon as it goes out into the yard, it's starting to get less effective. If it's going out into the paddock, that's where you're going to get more opportunities for infection. So the idea of the Totarol and the spray I was developing was for long term. So you get that protection from milking to milking.
So that's been beautifully plated there, and we've got 5 screws in. The biggest risk is just infection with it being an open fracture. So we're looking forward to getting that all back together. I'm an orthopaedic vet. For many years I've been doing accident and emergency 24/7, and we started off using pawpaw for wound management. Then we found that Manuka honey was better, and then we found that Totarol was better again. So it's a bioactive. It acts in a different way to antibiotics. Antibiotics, when they are acting in the body, can have a lot of side effects. Totarol is anti-inflammatory, it's antimicrobial, but it's also angiogenic. It speeds up the way that the body heals the tissue. Often these dogs have chronic ear infections and they yo-yo back and forth to the veterinarians having lots of different antibiotics. The problem is often multifactorial. It's conformational, there's some allergy involved because of diet. So we fix them on all of those different fronts, but in order to budge the bacteria that's often been there for a very long period of time, the sodium bentonite clay and Totarol mixed that we've made, known as pet putty, the alkaline environment that it creates just shifts. Doesn't seem to matter what the bug is. So the owners don't have to go through lots of expense and complication of revisits. They use it in a few weeks. Most of the infections have cleared up. The reason it's so good is that we use it in ears and it's so easy. So literally we're just going to wipe that in there and stuff it full of putty. So it's really, really nice and easy for owners to do. It doesn't hurt the dog, it's not uncomfortable, dries beautifully, and then we just wash it out, done. So you can do quite a thin layer if you've got a wide eczema. The thicker the layer of pet putty, the more of its ability to act as a poultice. So you can actually put it between toes and things, and the pets are quite tolerant of that. A lot of dogs have foreign bodies and grass seeds between their feet, and this will actually pull them out, act as a poultice. It's got a cation exchange capacity to actually swell to about 5 to 10 times its own body weight. It's got quite a nasty infection actually that looks a lot better than yesterday even. That was looking really quite nasty. It's got it under control already. Good little girl. It should have great application as a teat spray for mastitis, but also for treating cows for metritis. So of the types of things that I've been interested in using it, I believe that's where the product needs to be heading, because it's one thing to fix eczema in small animals, but if we can offer some solutions for mastitis that is organic, that is a natural product, that's a New Zealand product that acts in a completely different way without relying on antibiotics, that's got to be a winner for New Zealand.